This is it, people. This is what you've been waiting for. This is Everyday Celebrity Podcast. The podcast for everyday people with everyday problems, trying to find everyday solutions to accomplish everyday goals. Let's start the show. Welcome to another episode of Everyday Celebrity Podcast. No one podcast in Oakland, no one podcast in the Bay Area. And tonight we have a special guest. This man he's like a Swiss Army knife, you know what I'm saying? I heard he was a preacher at one point, which is crazy. Now he's an entrepreneur, and we're going to talk about his life and this new book that he got coming out called Dating for Men Made Easy. Welcome, Easop, to the show.
Thank you for having me, man. Pleasure.
How was your night tonight?
Night been good, man. Running around. This is the second podcast today, the third in 2 days.
Yeah, you like a musician putting out an album right now.
Man, it's similar to that. You know, I used to be an artist, so putting out a book is actually similar to putting out an album or any musical work. So this is actually just kind of run of the mill for me.
Which one do you think is easier?
I think they're both the same, but I think creatively this was my most challenging process, writing the book. So
what now you say you were an artist. What type of artist were you?
Hip hop, rap.
Hip hop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't do that no more?
Not really. Not like I used to. This was back, you know, I'm old, man. I don't want to date myself, but
I'm old too.
I'm aged. I like to say it like that. You know what I mean? This was back in like 2000.
Okay.
You know what I mean? When I was doing music.
The little hyphy era when that was like big.
Yeah. I put out my last single in 2000, I want to say 2018, 2017, I put out my last single. So I still dibble and dabble when I get the urge. Yeah.
Are you originally from Oakland?
No, I'm from San Francisco.
San Francisco.
I always like to correct people. I'm from the city.
Okay.
I just live in Oakland. You know, that's two different two different worlds.
What part of the city?
Sunnydale, Brick Homes, Viz Valley, 94134, all day.
Is that like I don't know where that is. So tell me where exactly. Is that like the hood, the bad part?
Yeah, it's a couple of different parts in the 94134. You got Sunnydale, the projects. That's where when I was brought home from the hospital, that's where I went. My birth certificate say 1764, 66 Sunnydale. So I was raised there as a young child, as a baby. We moved to Vallejo for a quick minute, and then we moved back to San Francisco to what we call the Brick Homes, which was not far from Sunnydale. So it's like you could walk up a couple of blocks and you in the projects. Sunnydale was the projects. The Brick Homes was like the homes part of.
You're saying Brook Homes or Brick Homes?
Brick Homes, yeah.
Why do they call them that? Is it just
they
brick homes?
They literally brick. They red brick homes. Yep, hell of them. Townhouses.
Now, the projects in San Francisco, were they similar to like when you see? I don't know if you ever been to the East Coast. Were they like those type of projects?
High rises? No. 1 level, 2-story at the most. But we used to have this. We used to have what's called the Geneva Towers. Those was high rises.
Yeah, I recently learned about those, and they
knocked them down.
Yeah, they knocked them down because of like crime and shit.
Man, it was crazy.
So you was around there. And
I was literally. That's where I live.
Okay.
I could look to my right and see the Geneva Towers. A lot of my family, a lot of my people lived in there. I used to be in there all the time.
What's there now?
They remodeled it. They knocked them down. It's like townhomes, I would call them, I guess.
Okay.
Single family houses.
They like gentrified them or something?
Yeah, basically, yeah. They're doing the same thing to Sunnydale now. They're tearing all the projects now down around there. Like I went over there not too long ago. I didn't even know it.
You think that's good?
Yeah. I would say it's good. You know, shit. It's you know, it's 2024. You know what I mean? So you gotta. What was old now got to become new. You know what I mean?
How was growing up in those projects for you?
Man, growing up for me, man, I had a good life. I don't have a sad story. And when I say that, I just mean like I had everything I needed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't have a story of my mom being on drugs, my dad on drugs, and nothing like that.
Yeah.
I was raised by my great aunt.
Okay.
But I was, of course, being in that environment surrounded by just everything you could think of. I can remember coming home from school one day, and I remember this like yesterday, seeing a dead body on the ground.
Yeah.
And having to walk around it to get home. You know what I'm saying? A lot of my partners, people that I grew up with getting shot, partners that I know got killed. So I was raised in that environment, but I just had a good enough net around me to kind of keep me from that. And then sports kept me out of that, which it does for a lot of kids, you know, growing up in the inner city. But I was around all those elements, you know what I'm saying? I got sucked in a little bit, but, you know, I managed to kind of
Never, I mean, I mean, I was the same. I was around the shit too, but I didn't do shit, or I was smart enough to avoid not getting in the system and like getting trapped in that system.
Yes.
Yeah. So you say your aunt raised you. Where was your mother?
My mom was around. God bless my mom. She's deceased. She's passed away. She passed in 2012. But she was around. My parents were both around. But during that time when my mom and dad broke up, my mom felt like the best decision was for my great aunt to raise me. And it worked out. I probably wouldn't be here with you today.
Yep. Where was dad at?
Dad was always around. Me and my dad, we have a great relationship now, but growing up, you know, my dad was I would say he wasn't fully present. He was around, but like my dad was the one taking me to Little League. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I always knew who my dad was and he would come around. My dad is the reason I graduated high school. If it wasn't for him, I would have never graduated.
Explain that.
I was fucking up so bad that he was the only one I would listen to.
Okay.
So one day I was cutting school. He came by the crib and I was at home skipping first period. And he was like, nah, you got to come stay with me. So for my senior year in high school, I stayed with my dad. And if it wasn't for him, I probably would have never graduated high school.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Lincoln in the city. Shout out Abraham Lincoln Mustangs.
Okay. So after high school, where did your journey take you?
Man, after high school, I was a jock, meaning I was an athlete. So I went to City College of San Francisco, played football for City College of San Francisco for a minute, played quarterback. Shout out CCSF, the Rams. Did that for a minute. But I was kind of like, at that point in time, I kind of had like one foot trying to play football, go D1, get a scholarship, and had my other foot in the streets. So I was kind of straggling both sides. And at that point, I didn't really have no real guidance. You know what I mean? I was just kind of like playing football, trying to be in the street, trying to figure myself out. And then, you know, when you talk about the preacher part, that's where church came in at, because I started wilding, like, and I believe like church really came in to like save my life, because that was my upbringing.
Yeah.
And that was back my generation, we had to go to church. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's the case now so much, but back when I was growing up, shit, you went to church with somebody. If your mom or somebody didn't go to church, they made sure somebody picked you up and took you to church. So I always had those roots and those upbringings. So when I kind of strayed away from that and started trying to be in the street and do all the stuff that come with that, church kind of came back into my life.
Usually when people have a transition, a religious transition, it's because they suffer like a near-death experience, or like something drastic happens in their life. Was that the case for you?
Wasn't the case for me, but there is a story. I always tell the story. I was out one night with one of my partners. We was out at the club. Harry O, shout out to Harry O. Me and him was hanging out, and we was riding around all night. We went out just riding around all night, gun in the car. You know what I'm saying? We high. I got home at like probably 3, 4 in the morning. I remember it like it was yesterday. And some people said it was the weed. I don't know what it was, but it's like I had an epiphany. And I was like, I can't keep going down this path I'm going down, because something's going to end up happening to me, because I'm hanging with the wrong crowds.
Was y'all riding around to rob somebody?
No. We was just out partying that night, I think, or something like that. And I don't know, man. It was just like a divine intervention. That got home that morning. I was like, I can't keep doing this. My great aunt, God bless her, she was like, I didn't raise you to be doing what you're doing. And she was right. You know what I mean?
Was this an instant change, or did it take some time?
It was instant. I was in church the next day.
The next day?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, next day. That's my testimony, as they say.
And then when you went to church, I mean, did you instantly feel like, oh, this is the place for me? Like, did you start believing what the fucking preacher was talking about, God and all that shit?
I did, because it was what I knew. It was home to me. So it wasn't like it was foreign to me. Like, this is a new thing. You know what I mean? It was home to me. And I felt good about the decision I made. You know what I mean? So it felt at home for me, is the best way for me to put it.
And how did you become a preacher?
So transitioning to going in the church, when I started going back to church, I've always been a leader. I always consider myself a leader. Never really been a follower. I played quarterback in high school. Quarterback is the leader of the football team.
Yeah.
Always kind of been a leader. You know what I mean? And as I got involved in church and stayed involved, pastor at the time was like, you got some leadership qualities. I think you'll make a good minister. So I started off as a minister. Then as I started off as a minister, kind of, you know, having little roles and responsibilities here and there, that just kind of grew. And as that grew, I became a youth pastor. And as I became a youth pastor, that just led to an eventual church later on down the road. Still to this day, I don't know how. I never signed up to be a pastor, but that's just the cookie crumble.
Was this pre-music? Or after?
This was kind of during the same time, because
I was a pastor and a music.
I was the guy. I used to do gospel rap. I was big in the gospel world. Yeah,
that was my next question. Was you talking about God, and then at night bitches and hoes?
Nah. It was street gospel. It was street gospel.
Okay. Yeah. Were you successful?
I would say so. Most definitely. Okay. My music took me to places I would have never thought. I traveled the country. Traveled the world because of my music. Made relationships, met people that are still very much a part of my life to this day. Seen money that I would have never have seen before. So, yeah, I would definitely say I was successful.
Do you think there's still a lane for gospel hip hop? Do you think that needs to be put to like the mainstream?
I think it is. I don't follow it like I used to when I was involved, but I think it's very big now. I mean, Lecrae is probably one of the biggest. He came out of that genre. Lecrae is one of the biggest.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, if you look him up, he's big.
He's a Bay Area rapper?
No. I don't know where Lecrae is from, but he's big. He took it and made it mainstream. So I think that genre is doing pretty good right now. When I got involved, it was still new. It was still kind of like the beginning of it. You know what I mean? I was kind of like a pioneer here in the Bay Area for it.
Are you still involved with the church?
Not like I used to be, nah.
Do you think the church, especially like the black churches, do you think they do enough for black community?
It's a good question. You put me on the spot. If I had to answer the question, not to run around it, my answer would be no. I don't think they do enough. Nah, I think they could do more. Of course, yes. I think it's too focused, and I don't want to get off on a tangent here, but I think it's too focused on being inside the four walls. I think they need to be more involved in just doing more outreach. It's not enough outreach, as I see it, no.
Yeah. I'm not religious at all. I don't believe in all that. I think I can go on a tangent too, but I mean we ain't gonna stay on religion. So you were in a church and you were doing music. When did you get out of the church?
I closed my church in 2007 because remember I was a pastor, so I pastored probably from 2001 maybe to 2007. And kind of what caused me to do that, I had a death in the family. My little baby brother was killed in December of 2007. So now I closed my church, I think it was in 2008. So just going through a divorce, I went through a divorce at that time, a very public and messy and kind of divorce, being a pastor and going through a public divorce. It was a tough time in my life. You know what I mean? Having lost my little brother being killed in Oakland, going through a divorce, a public divorce at that.
Shouldn't that make you want to stay in the church even more?
For me, it didn't.
Okay.
I felt like I gave enough of myself. I felt like it was time for me to step away. I heard something a long time ago. I think T.D. Jakes said it. Leaders can lead while bleeding. So sometimes leaders have to be strong for everybody else. And I got tired of being strong for everybody else. I felt like I was bleeding and I needed to heal. I needed to, you know what I mean, just take a step back from everything. And that's what I decided to do.
When all this was happening, right? When all this was happening, did you have a specific person? Because, you know, like when people go through hardships, they go to you to like talk and like ask for advice and all that shit. Did you have someone that you can lean on and talk to at this time?
Man, that's a good question. You taking me back. I didn't really have too many people, man, to be honest. The only person that comes to mind was my brother-in-law, probably at the time. My ex-wife's sister husband. He was really my confidant. One of the only people I could really go to and talk to that understood me. Shout out BL. I talked to him a lot. You know what I mean? Was
he in the church too?
Yeah, he was one of the members of my church. Yeah. But I talked to him a lot. And I'm pretty sure it was people that I talked to, you know what I mean? But he comes to mind in particular.
Do you feel like you were able to, going through a divorce and losing a sibling, do you feel like you were able to, you say you talked to him, but do you feel like you were able to get out your grief fully?
I do. I think I process things pretty well. I think that I have the ability to kind of like compartmentalize things in a way that allows me to grieve in a way that works for me. Everybody grieves different. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And to this day, I try to keep my brother's name alive. You know what I mean? That's part of my continued healing process. I started a brand in his name. These shades are named after my brother Byron Lavelle shades, watches I'm doing. So I try to keep his name alive, and that continues to help me heal and keep his memory alive.
When you got out of the church, what was your next move?
Good question. When I got out of the church, man, I just kind of wanted to live, man.
You weren't working like no 9 to 5 or nothing right there?
Yeah, I always had a 9 to 5. Okay. I always had a decent job.
What job was you doing when you got out of the church?
During the church, I was working for the bread company. I was working for a bread company, delivering bread. Thank you. I was delivering bread. But after that, because I got married at 20. I was young, bro. Yeah, 2 years out of high school.
So, and you was running the streets. That's crazy to get married at 20.
Yeah, but like I said, church saved me. For real. Like it gave me like purpose. I found my wife. I got 2 beautiful kids from that situation that I love. One of them played for my oldest son. He's in the NFL. He played for the New York Jets. My daughter.
Oh, word? Okay.
Yeah, he played for the Seahawks. He's been in the league like 5 years in and out. So seeing him been able to make it to the highest level was a blessing. That came out of that situation.
Nice.
My daughter is in grad school at Howard studying to be a lawyer. That came out of that situation. So I don't have no complaints. You know what I mean? But back to your question in terms of like, I just want to live, man, because I got married so young. I feel like I did in my 30s and early 40s what people was doing in their 20s. I was like, I'm free. I could do whatever the hell I want to do. I ain't no pastor no more. I just want to live and not have no responsibilities or nothing. And that's kind of what I did.
So where did all this, like I mentioned when I introduced you, I said you were an entrepreneur. Where did that mindset start to happen? Or did you obviously already have it originally, or you just had the time to actually put your ideas?
I did.
Okay.
I've always been entrepreneurial. So before I started the church, I started my record label. So I was doing music before I started the church. So I formulated a company called Life or Death Records.
Okay.
Secured investors and everything. And back then in 2000, man, that's why when you asked me the question earlier about me being successful, I was like, yeah, how could it not be successful? A young kid from the hood, started a company, found some investors, and they probably, and I'm not lying, she'll tell you, probably was giving me like $25,000, $35,000 at a time.
Yeah.
Just sewing into my record label and my vision because they believed in me. You know what I mean? So the entrepreneurial spirit was always there. So I started the record label. That was one thing. Then I started the church. That was a 501c3 nonprofit organization. After the church, I started another nonprofit organization, which kind of ties back into your question of what I did after the church closed. I started a nonprofit organization called Reaching Over Boundaries, designed to help youth be better. So I had a program in juvenile hall. I had a program in like 2 San Francisco schools, going in, working with kids. So I started the nonprofit organization. So yeah, I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit.
Is the record label still going on?
No.
The nonprofit still going on?
No.
Okay. What happened with those?
Just time. Time and politics and having a nonprofit. You know what I mean? It's a lot of politics that come with that game in terms of getting funding and the time that go into it and playing the games that just come with that. I didn't have time for.
Do you feel like you put too many like eggs in one basket instead of just focusing on one thing at a time?
Nah, because at the time I was doing the nonprofit, it was just a nonprofit. It wasn't, I didn't have, like I got more going on now than I ever had. You know what I mean? But at that time, it was just more of like a work balance thing, work and doing a nonprofit and trying to have these programs running and stuff like that.
Did anything come to fruition with the record label? Like, did you have like any successful artists?
Me?
You? I mean, that's right. That's true. Okay. So let's stay on the record label and your other business ventures. Which one do you think? Well, which one are you most proud of starting?
That's a good question. I'm gonna say the church.
Okay. And why is that?
The church, because I directly saw the impact I had on people's lives. And that's worth more than the price. That's worth more than money. When you can see the influence that you've had on people's lives that are coming to you for leadership, that are coming to you for direction, that are coming to you for guidance. To this day, I have people still coming up to me that thank me for the role I played in their life. And that's something I'll never forget.
Now, feeling that, I mean, that's a powerful feeling to have.
Yeah. It's something like you can't explain.
Why not go back into the church to I mean, you just proved that you had an impact on people. So why not go back into the church to continue that?
I feel like that was like a chapter of a book in my life.
Okay.
You know what I mean? God has us in places for sometimes for a season. And I believe for that period of my life, that's what I was supposed to be doing, which I did. And now I'm trying to impact people's lives in a different way. I'm still impacting people's lives, but just in a different way.
Now let's talk about this book that you got coming out. What made you? This is your first book, correct?
First book.
What made you What made you want to write a book?
Honestly speaking, what made me want to write a book, I was looking for a way to create a digital asset that could pay me in my sleep. So when I was looking for ways to get paid online or just because as we've talked about, I've always kind of been entrepreneurial in my thinking. And with all my life experiences, as we've talked about, people have always told me I should write a book on other topics. And so when I started doing the research in terms of writing a book, I was like, you know what? I could write a book. And when it came down to choosing the particular topic that I chose to address and talk about, I've been out there in these streets, man, for 17 years. So there's nothing better than I know than women and how to get them.
Okay, yeah, that was going to be my next question. I mean, I know what the book is about, but tell the listeners what the book is about.
The book, Dating for Men Made Easy, 15 Keys with One Bonus Key is really, it's not just a dating book to me. It's a dating book, but it also doubles as a personal development book for men, just in terms of like being the best version of yourself. Because I'll talk about things like having confidence. I'll talk about you shouldn't even be dating until your mental, your emotional, and your financial state is in the right place. Handling rejection, your appearance. I just felt like it was things. And then when you write a book, you want to have a target demographic. You know what I mean? You want to have somebody specifically that this book is for. And so I honed in on dating for men to address a lot of those topics to help men succeed in the dating game. And dating now is big business. They got TV shows about it. They got
20 versus 1.
20 versus 1. I mean,
you should do that.
I should.
Just set one of the things up. Yeah.
I should. I mean, so when I looked at it as a whole, I'm like, man. And then the other thing I'll say too is that I can't assume that everybody is like me. Meaning, like, I don't have a problem walking up to a complete stranger that's a woman and trying to get her number.
Yeah.
Some dudes are fearful and couldn't even imagine doing something like that because they don't know what to say. They're scared of being rejected. So I can't assume everybody's like me. So this book is for guys who may be socially awkward, who lack confidence, who maybe just need some guidance, need some help, how to talk, a key, a nugget here to help them navigate the world of dating if that's what they're into. And it's a dating book in the sense of like, not just dating to date, but even like I was saying earlier, in the earlier podcast I did, even if you're trying to find a wife, it's a great book too. This ain't just about playing the field, but even if you're looking to lock down somebody, it's a great book for that to help you too.
Yeah, I always say like niggas who have the ability to just walk up to women and like talk to them, they make the best salesmen. Like salesman jobs.
Yep.
Niggas who sell cars or insurance and shit. Those make the best because when you're walking up to a woman blindly, you're basically selling yourself. And when she gives you the number, that's you closing the deal. So if you're good at that, you can be a door-to-door salesman, you can sell cars, you can do all types of shit.
And that's crazy because I never, ever thought about getting into sales. Never.
Yeah, I mean, I had one sales job, and I hated it because I like because sales jobs you don't know how much your money.
Right.
Like you can go a month and like make a shit ton of money, or you can go a month and only sell like 1 or 2 cars or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I like to know exactly what I'm gonna get. That's why sales wasn't for me.
Right.
But I had no problem with talking to the women.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Confidence is something. I mean, confidence is something that can be taught, but it has to come. I don't think it can be taught by actions like, oh, just keep going up to girls. No, you have to be a confident person internally first before, because when you're confident internally, when you go up to a woman, rejection is not on your mind. And if you get rejected, like you don't give a fuck.
It's not going,
because you got the mindset of like, oh, you just rejected me. You the one fucking up.
Right.
You know what
exactly. And that's what I talk about in the book. It's like you have to have that mindset when you take that approch. You know what I mean? But some dudes, if they get rejected, man, they might not come out the house for 2
and
weeks.
They kill themselves and shit.
You feel me?
Yeah. Is the book? You said you focused on a demographic, men, obviously, but you just don't care about what type of man, or you want the black men?
Man, this book is for everybody.
Okay.
No matter your race, your religion, your background, your politics, whatever. I wrote this book from a I think a place of everyone can relate to, no matter where you at, and that's the approach that I took. So anybody can read it. I think it's a great read for young men that are just getting into the dating world. Some men that just may be socially awkward, like I said earlier. You know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of men out here who really may not have the guidance or the know-how. You know what I mean? I want people to be able to buy this book like, read this and take it, because it's a lot of nuggets. Even though it says 15 keys, in each chapter, there are plenty of other nuggets that I give out.
Is this self-published?
Yep, I did everything myself.
Now, when people say, "Oh, I wrote this book," so you actually wrote it. You weren't just like talking to someone and then they wrote down. They just summarized your shit and wrote it down.
This come from the school of hard knocks, baby. I wrote this from my brain, my pen. I had an editor who helped me formulate my thoughts and my, you know what I mean, to do my structure and all of that. But that's it. But I did this. This all me. No AI, no nothing.
What was the hardest part?
Editing.
Oh, editing. Okay.
I can stop you right there. Because I was still, the copy I gave you is actually, you see the bar on the front, that's actually a proof copy. So it's still a few mistakes in that one. I'm going to give you another one when I get the final one. But editing was the hardest part. Even though I read it 1,000 times over and over and over, even up to the final, you know, when I'm thinking it's done, I catch, and there's little stuff that people probably wouldn't notice, but I notice. A comma here, the spacing. One misspelled word, little stuff like that. So the editing was the hardest part, I would definitely say.
Now, some people write, some people have different types of writing. Some people write books where when you read it, it sounds like me and you talking. You understand what I'm saying? It sounds like you're reading a conversation, and then some people write as if like they're telling a actual story. What approach did you take?
I think more conversational.
Okay.
Like I'm actually talking to you. Like, hey, bro, do this. Don't do that. I got a chapter called Don't Be Weird. Red flags that you can give to a woman. Like, look, don't get in the weird zone, bro, because it's easy to get in, but hard to get out. So I really took a conversational approach just in terms of like how I feel like you should approach a woman, the things you should do, the do's and the don'ts and stuff like that. Because there's dudes out here doing a lot of goofy stuff. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm really here to help, you know, at the end of the day. I want to see guys win.
So let's talk about, since we're on dating, let's talk about some subjects. Recently, there was a viral clip of a woman, right? Who, I don't know if you saw this, but she was
might be in the book.
She was Travis Kelce's ex, right?
Paying all her bills.
Yeah, she was like Angel Reese. I think she was on Angel Reese's podcast. Angel Reese asked her, would you ever go 50-50 on bills or anything in a relationship? And she basically was like, she looked at her and was like, do I look like a girl who would go 50-50?
Yeah, I would never date her.
And what do you think? And when people saw that video, they started all types of shit. All types of conversations started, like, oh, black women. They made it about black women and white women. They were like, a white woman would never say no shit like that. White women will go 50-50.
Right.
And they were like, oh, black women, they always have this attitude like they deserve this and that before even proving that they're worth the shit, right? And then they made it about modern women and feminism. So when you hear that clip, that soundbite, what is your initial reaction to what she said?
I don't have a reaction, meaning if that works for her, that worked for her. I don't knock what nobody do.
But what I'm saying is, what do you think about that a woman with that mindset?
It wouldn't work for me.
Why wouldn't it?
It just wouldn't. I live in the Bay Area, man. It's expensive to live out here. You're gonna pay the PG&E, the water bill, something. and I'm the type, I don't mind taking care of home.
Yeah.
But you at least gotta contribute something. I don't want to feel like you're just getting a free ride. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. You know what I'm saying? But apparently that's been working for her. And if that's working for her, you know, I'm not gonna knock what nobody do to get by. If she got dudes out there paying all her bills, you got plenty of tricks out there that's doing that. You know what I'm saying? But It wouldn't work for me answering your question.
Yeah.
You gonna pay the water bill or something.
Do you feel that the fact that there's so many tricks out here is ruining?
It's fucking the game up. I'm gonna stop you right there.
Yeah. Okay, well,
most definitely. But
because you got some women who are not even on these girls' level, like the Amber Roses and like all who have that mindset of you ain't Amber Rose.
Hey man, and until the dudes stop doing it, it's gonna keep perpetuating itself. So, what can you do? You know what I'm saying? If dudes gonna do it and the women are getting it and the dudes allowing them to do it, what can you say?
Yeah.
Shout out to the women that's getting that done. If a nigga willing to pay and do this and do that, I'm not gonna hate on any of that. They just ain't gonna get it from me.
Yeah, they are.
You know what I'm saying? So
I'm the same way. It's like this whole OnlyFans shit. There was this one chick. She was talking about her customers, like her OnlyFans customers, like paying her money, and then the guy asked her, "What do you think about these men?" And she started talking shit about him. She was like, "Oh, these niggas is weird. Why would you pay me $300 for a foot pic and all this other shit?"
That's the thing. And then you giving them the money, but they really don't have no respect for you at the end of the day. They got more respect for a nigga like me coming into their life. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't really look at the dudes and I actually talk about that in my book, because I tell men that, like, if you doing that, know what you signed up for. You know what I'm saying? Don't get taken for a ride. Some relationships are transactional.
Yeah.
And some men like that. They like the transactional part of it.
Yeah.
I give you this, you do this for me. And we wash our hands. I don't got to worry about you calling me, blowing up my phone. Maybe
that's good at some times. I mean, that's good at some point.
Yeah. I mean, and you have those type of relationships out there. You know what I mean? Those transaction relationships out there. I just don't want guys to be being strung along.
Yeah.
Taken for a ride. I'm trying to help them niggas. You feel me? Like, you really think she like you. Nah, my nigga, she don't like you. She like your wallet.
Yeah.
She don't like you. You get what I'm saying? So I'm trying to help those dudes to make that distinction.
What is the most important chapter of your book, do you think?
Good question. The most important chapter, if I had to pick one. I don't want to take the easy way out and be like, all of them are important. Yeah. I'm going to really pick one. I'm going to say what I think I mentioned earlier, just the preparation, just being mentally, emotionally, and financially in a place where you can just be in the world, you know what I'm saying, on your own height, you know what I mean? Just having your shit together. So that chapter is called Setting the Table, having your shit together. Because I believe when you have yourself together, you're able to present the best version of yourself, not only in the dating scene, but in the world in general. You know what I mean? I believe we should all get 1% better every day, no matter what we're doing. So I'm gonna pick that one.
Do you think a guy should date, or not even date, or just like approach and seek out women that's on his level? Like, if a nigga don't got a car, do you think a guy should approach a bitch with 3 cars? If you riding a bike, do you think a guy should go up to a girl walking out of Whole Foods that's getting in a Range Rover and holler at her?
Hey, man, swing for the fence.
Swing for the fence?
Man, swing for the fence. I'm never going to tell a dude not to, you know what I mean? If what we was talking about earlier, if you got the confidence to go out there and catch a trout when you normally used to catching catfish, go try to catch that trout. Maybe she could help you elevate. You know what I mean? I'm from the Bay, so I know dudes who do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
You got the right ism, the right approach, the right mouthpiece. You might.
But we ain't talking about them niggas. We talking about these niggas that you wrote this book for. So let's say let's say he goes up to the girl with the Range Rover, pulls her, right? It's conversation on the phone, it's time for the date. It's time for the date. Do you think eventually since old girl drives Range Rover,
it's gonna be a power player.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think he's going to get emasculated and his confidence is going to get ruined?
He could very well get emasculated, depending on the woman and depending on the kind of man he is. Because when you got that type of maybe disparity in terms of, I don't want to say the wealth, but in terms of like where they are in life, you know, depending on the type of woman that is, if she's an alpha woman, you got some alpha females out here that will emasculate a man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If she's that type of woman, she's definitely going to emasculate him or try to control him. So some women want to be in situations where they can control their man. I know of them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Too. So I think it depends on the man. I don't care if you're driving a Range Rover or you got a house, and I don't care what you have and what I don't have.
Yeah.
You're going to respect me the same way as if I had the same thing you had. So if a man can have that mindset in that situation and the woman respects it, then make it work.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in the same thing. Because if I was in that situation, the Range Rover is mine.
Right.
Even if it's your Range Rover, if we get in, I'm gonna be driving that motherfucker. You go be in the passenger seat.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I agree with that.
Do you this red pill? You know about all the red pill shit that's going on, right? All these niggas on
you gotta put me
online.
on game.
Well, it's a bunch of like people on the YouTube space who talk about women. They were a bunch of, but I don't respect what they say, because I believe if the only reason you get in girls is because you finally are famous and you finally start getting money, and that's the only reason you're getting girls. You can't give me no advice. If you were doing that shit before you were famous and before you had money, right, with the bare minimum, and you was getting girls, and then the money and the celebrity and the fame just increased the type of woman you get, then you could tell me something. But that's what the whole red pill is about. These niggas, they're online on YouTube who were like nerds and shit in high school and shit, never got girls. They sit in their room year after year on YouTube and created channels, got famous.
Like Kai Cenat?
Well, no, not Kai Cenat. This is like, you ever heard of Fresh and Fit? Yeah, you need to watch them.
Okay.
But they crazy. They crazy.
You're talking about YouTubers, right?
Yeah, YouTubers, like streamers on YouTube. But they were like nerds. Now Kai Cenat, he does like he's not red pill because he doesn't talk about relationships and stuff. Kai Cenat is like,
you talking about the guys that talk about relationships?
Yeah, relationships. Gotcha, like women, like don't do this with women. Don't ever buy OnlyFans. Don't date this type of woman, right? Because she's a prostitute and all this other shit. And they try to give advice to men, and their audience are like nerds, like fat niggas, white boys who can't get girls,
who ain't getting no pussy,
who don't get pussy, and like hate girls because they don't get pussy, right?
Right.
So it's that whole. So I was going to ask you, do you agree with what these niggas be talking about? But you don't. You're not familiar with them. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, but I can answer your question. I mean, I always try to be careful with my words because I don't want to knock what anybody does. I'm not a hater by any means necessary. It ain't even my DNA. But we having a conversation, we talking, you ask me a question. Do I feel like from what you're telling me, their status allows them the platform to be able to give advice. Without that celebrity or that status, nobody probably would even pay these motherfuckers no mind.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I get it. It's like, I get it. So I don't personally think they should, but if it's working for them, you know what I'm saying? Given the platform, you know, hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? That's like somebody driving down the street. They in a Ferrari. You ask them how they got rich or something like that. You're going to listen to the person in the Ferrari before you listen to the person in the Ford. Yeah. It's just all in the packaging and in the presentation.
But then you find out that nigga in the Ford.
That Ferrari might have been a
rented, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's just the world in which we live in. Perception is reality for some people. You know what I mean? You got to filter through all that shit.
Niggas with real money, they don't really floss.
Right.
They don't really floss their money. But like when you see all these like real That's the difference between when you see like a rapper and then you see a like Tom Cruise walking around the streets.
Mm-hmm.
That nigga will be in like some Wrangler jeans and a t-shirt,
and some flip flops,
worth $80 million, and got $80 million in his bank. And then you'll see a rapper with a chain on and shit, with diamonds in his ear.
That's culture, you know. Yeah. They gonna do that.
It's ignorant shit. You talk about finances in your book about like. Do you have any? What was that about?
That was basically about don't put yourself in a hole, because dating is not cheap. Because I'm a firm believer that if you ask a woman out or you pursuing a woman, you see a woman you're interested in, don't ask to take her out on a date, first couple of dates, and you ain't got no money to treat the woman nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to be ready to go in your pocket. I'm a firm believer that if you go out on a woman with a date, you shouldn't be going Dutch with her on the first date or asking what she got on the date. So just having yourself in a financial space where you can date a woman the right way and treat her nice, show her a good time. You know what I mean? You know who TK Kirkland is, the comedian?
Mm-hmm.
He do a lot of Vlad interviews, and he says, I don't agree with the amount, but I agree on the premise of what he's saying. And he said a man shouldn't even date unless he has $25K in the bank. Same kind of like premise. In a sense, like have your shit together financially before you go out. Now, the average man, you know, ain't got $25K sitting in the bank like that. You know what I mean? But I get what he was saying, you know what I mean? And that's the same principle I talk about in the book in terms of finances, just trying to have your money right. And even if you work a minimum wage job or you don't have a job that's good, save up. You know, put you a couple stacks in the bank. You know what I'm saying? And then make your approach like a lion in the jungle. You know what I mean? And be ready to pounce if she's ready. You got a couple dollars saved up to treat her right.
Do you think, which one do you think is better on a first date? Taking a girl to dinner or taking a girl just out for drinks?
It kind of depends. I don't think either one is wrong. I'm going to give you my personal experience. I'd take a chick out for drinks quick.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Like that is a lighter mood. Drinks tend to loosen people up. The conversation flows a lot smoother. You get to kind of know her a little bit. She'll open up. You know what I mean? So me, I'm a drinks person. I'm gonna take you to a bar. So if you looking for dinner on the first date, you got to be good.
Yeah, I hate that whole dinner on the first date shit, because you, like, let's say you at dinner with said woman and like you're coming to realize that, yo, I'm not even feeling this chick. Now you stuck at the dinner table with her.
$300 bill, depending on where you go.
Like,
$200-$300. You know what I'm saying? And that's been a thing on social media with where girls want to go on dates for the first date, and he took me here and I want to go here and all of that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, nah. We going to this cheap bar, I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because then after you get to know each other, then the price of the date and the excursions increase.
It's in the book. Talk about all that.
Okay.
I say get to know a woman first. If you like her, yes.
Then you do the extravagant.
Yeah, do all the nice things. Go out to, I don't even know what these 4- and 5-star restaurants is. I ain't been to one in so long, so I don't even know. Ain't no tricking over here.
Dr. Umar, you know who Dr. Umar is?
Of course.
Dr. Umar said,
love Dr. Umar. He be going hard in the paint. Shout out Dr. Umar.
Yeah, shout out Dr. I'm trying to get this nigga on the podcast, but that nigga want like 10,000 just to sit down. But anyway.
He was going to go crazy though.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably. But Dr. Umar once said, he was talking about black women and white women and how black men, rich, wealthy black men usually are with white women. And he said the reason for that is because a white woman will see a black man on the come up and see that potential and get with that said black man and be with him through that struggle because she sees the potential. And then once he makes it, he will be like, okay, old girl was with me when I was at my lowest, and I'm just going to wife her up because she's proved that she was loyal.
Right.
But the black woman, now these are Dr. Umar's words, not mine. He said the black woman would see that guy, that same man, at his lowest, would, one, see the potential, but don't want to go for the ride, or will see that man at his lowest and don't even, and just say, oh, I don't want to fuck with that because he's down there. So basically the black woman wants the finished product already, right? Do you agree with that?
Not necessarily. I don't think that's true in every case. I think there's some sisters who hold their man down. I'm always ride for my sisters, always. I know situations where they have helped brothers down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's a narrative because of maybe some situations we've seen. You know what I mean? But I think black women are loyal. You know what I mean? I'd rather a black woman by my side any day of the week. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. No.
Do you think, or do you see a trend more black women starting to date outside their race?
I don't see.
Are you starting to see that more?
I don't know if I could really say I'm starting to see that more. Could be. I don't know. I don't have no numbers to go by, so I can't say.
You don't have a problem with interracial dating, do you?
I don't want to be controversial. I'll keep my comments to myself.
That means you do, don't you?
I'm like Dr. Umar.
Oh, shit. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Nigga, say it if that's what you feel.
Yeah, I'm like Dr. Umar.
I mean, I agree.
I'm about us being with us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead.
Well, when it comes to marriage, I don't believe in marrying somebody outside your race. Now, if you running around like in the streets and shit, like that don't mean nothing to me. But like settling down, giving a woman your last name and starting a family, and becoming one, I think it should be a black woman.
Because to me, it's like we get into like that conversation, a whole nother conversation. But my belief for that reasoning is just like we've been through so much as a people. You know what I mean? We've been through a lot as a black people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of where that come from. Everything we've been through.
I don't understand when I see black men marrying white women. It's strange to me because at some point you're going to go through something to where you turn your head and be like, girl, do you understand what I just went through? And you're gonna realize that you just asked a white woman that. And there ain't no.
You almost made me spit my drink out.
There ain't no way
she gonna be
able to understand what the fuck you went through.
Right. Facts.
So yeah, I mean, that's why it's so weird to me. So the book is called Dating for Men Made Easy. When is this coming out?
It's actually out on pre-order now on every major platform: Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Apple Books, on your phone. If you got an iPhone, it's on pre-order now for $3.99. Go check it out. Leave a review. Tell me what you think. The official release date is next Friday, December 13th. That's when it comes out.
Is it going to be at any like physical copies in any stores or anything?
Yeah, it'll be everywhere.
It'll be like Barnes and Nobles and all that?
Yep. It's on Barnes and Noble's website currently right now.
How are you able to, like, what's the process of doing that, of getting books in like stores and shit? Is it like a complicated thing?
It's not really hard, to be honest with you. You go direct to, that's why self-publishing is so easy now. You go direct to the store. You go direct to Apple Books. Apple has a whole publishing platform. You go directly to Barnes & Noble's press. You go directly to Amazon, of course, KDP, which has a print option. There's another company called Ingram Sparks. They do physical book distribution for you through all the, bookstores aren't what they used to be, but there's still some around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You go to a company like Ingram Sparks, they'll distribute for you. So that's one of the companies that does the physical distribution of my book for me.
And how does we're talking about the business side of this now. So how does okay, the book is out in Amazon, right? And let's say someone buys the book. Someone buys 5 copies. How does the money get distributed? Like Amazon just takes a percentage?
They takes, what is it? Amazon, they pay you 70-30. Most platforms are 70-30. between 60 and 70. So you either get 60% high, 70%, depending on the platform.
Now, are these books already, like, if someone was to buy 100 books, do you have 100 books ready to be shipped, or are these like made to order?
No, made to order.
Okay.
Print on demand.
Print on demand. Okay,
yeah, exactly. I don't want to touch nothing. You know what I mean? Of course, when I do local stuff, I always have books on hand. Like we're doing our book release party. You invited too. I hope you're around. December 21st.
Where's this going to be at?
Oakland, 581 Bricks on 5th Street. On December 21st, 10 o'clock. We're going up. That's the official book release party.
Okay. What have you learned about, did you learn anything new about yourself during this process of this book?
Good question. Did I learn anything new about myself? I guess I did, because writing the book was a whole different challenge, bro. Like, for real, like just being able to focus. I learned that I had to stay inside more to just kind of like focus and write and finish. So I learned that, when I put my mind to something, I could definitely do it. You know what I'm saying? Because writing is a whole different process. I done wrote raps, I done wrote songs and stuff like that, but this was a whole different process. I even did the audiobook version.
Oh, yeah.
That's coming out as well.
That'll
dope. Be out probably in probably a week after the book. It's in the editing process right now. So I even read the audiobook version that'll be available on audio. So it'll also be available wherever you get your audiobooks from too. So I covered the bases on this book. It was like no stone left unturned when I did this.
You accomplished writing this book for the first time. Now, did this create a itch in you to where you're like, okay,
yep, I want to write.
Now I want to do more books.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I already started working on my next book. I already got 2 other books planned.
Are you able to talk about what your next book is going to be about?
Yeah, Sex, Sandwiches, and Silence, a woman's guide to satisfying your man.
Now say that again.
Sex, Sandwiches, and Silence, a woman's guide to satisfying your man.
I can just tell what the fuck that shit is about. I'm already knowing.
Just giving up the game, man. Just to the women this time.
So is this like a book series, or are you gonna make it into a series? Like, okay, you got the dating, you got the book for the guys. The Sex, Silence, and Sandwiches is gonna be for the girls, I'm assuming. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, and then is this a series? Are you thinking of, or are you just okay?
No, and then my next book after that is gonna be called From Pastor to Playboy. That's gonna be my autobiography. A story of human transformation.
Have you ever thought about creating a publishing
already done
company?
This book is published under my publishing company.
Okay, what's the publishing company?
Look in the book. It's right there on the copyright page.
Where the fuck is the copyright page? Oh, okay.
Come on, man.
Essence Love, okay.
Yeah, that's my publishing company I started, named after my daughter.
Wait, all right then. So you got books, clothing, music,
watches,
glasses. Sunglasses. Where can they get all the fashion stuff at?
AmbitionLadies.com. Ambition Ladies with a Z. LADIEZ.
I forgot to ask you about that. What Ambition Lady? What's that about?
Started as a modeling agency. I used to manage models for like 4 years, 5 years. And then I transitioned into a clothing brand. So I still work with models, but I just don't manage them and book them like I used to. So I turned Ambition Ladies into a lifestyle clothing brand. Yep.
Okay. What is I mean, you got all these things going on. What's something that you haven't done yet that you are like on?
I want to do a movie.
Yeah,
I want to do an independent film. That's my next challenge I want to tackle. And when I put my mind to it, it gets done.
Yeah.
So
I believe it.
I already got the song. I already pretty much got the concept. I'm just need some writers to help flush it out. But yeah, my next goal is to do an independent film.
Okay.
Short film. You want to act? Might find a role for you.
I mean, people do say I should act. You know what I'm saying? I've never done it before.
First time.
But yeah, I mean, shit. I'll any way I can help.
Yeah.
I'm down. So I want to say thank you for coming on the podcast, talking about your life, explaining the book, giving me a copy. I skimmed through like the first couple pages, but I'm gonna sit down and read it. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And tell the people when it's coming out again.
It'll be out December 13th. That's next Friday. And again, you can find it anywhere books are sold online. So wherever you get your books, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. If you got an iPhone, Apple Books. If you got a Google phone, or Android, I'm even distributing on Google Books. They have a platform for books as well. So I'm like Air. I'm everywhere.
Tell the people where they can reach you on your socials if you want.
They can reach me at Easop, EASOP. That's at Easop, EASOP. And that's on everything. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that.
Do you have any last words?
Last words is, man, if you have something in your heart that you want to do, do it. Don't wait for nobody. Ain't no time like today to get it done. Don't let nothing get in your way. Do it.
Yeah, that's that Oakland player shit.
Mm-hmm.
This is Everyday Celebrity Podcast, and we are out.
Peace.